Bloom Apartments brings you an exceptional offer. For a limited time, get 2 months free, plus their unique all-inclusive package. Not bad for finding your secret garden in the heart of Gatineau. Visit bloomapartments.com.
We begin this hour with a story from Montreal's Irish community. When excavations began for the REM station in Point St. Charles, steps away from the Black Rock Monument, marking the graves of 6,000 people, Montreal's Irish community knew there would probably be bodies found. After 2 years, 12 sets of remains were exhumed. Researchers are able to give the community some answers about what life and death were like for their ancestors. Scott Phelan joins us on the line, director of the Montreal Irish Monument Park Foundation and former president of the St. Patrick's Society. Scott, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Elias.
Let's talk about the Black Rock site, what it means for you and what it means for the Irish community.
Well, it's a really historic site, not only for the Irish community, but for Montreal and Canada as a whole. It's the Black Rock is the oldest monument to the Irish famine in the world. It's the largest grave site of Irish nationals outside of Ireland, and from all our research, it is the largest humanitarian effort in Canadian history. In 1847, 75,000 Irish immigrants landed in Montreal between May and November, when the population of Montreal was 50,000 people. You can imagine the difficulties with these refugees. They were malnourished, they were destitute, they only spoke Irish, not English or French, or the great majority of them. And worst of all, they were carrying ship's fever, what we call now typhus. And to the great credit of the Montrealers and Quebecers, they built fever sheds, and they tended and protected the refugees. They fed them. The First Nations came to their aid, Protestants, Catholics, Jewish people. The mayor at the time contacted typhus in November, tending to the refugees, and passed away himself. So it is a story that's not known really outside of our community, but being the single largest humanitarian effort in Canadian history is really quite something. And it didn't end in Montreal. Those that were considered fit after landing here went on to Ottawa and Kingston and Toronto, and the same thing happened there. The typhus takes 15 days to exhibit. So there was humanitarian efforts in all of those cities, and there's memorial parks in most of the major centers, Toronto and Vancouver, and Montreal has been unfortunately overlooked in this, but it's because it's right downtown. It's been a difficult issue over the decades. I mean, this is the 175th anniversary this year of the 1847 famine, the worst year of the famine. Mm-hmm. So it's really we're in the throes of building with our partners Hydro-Quebec and the City of Montreal a 4-acre memorial park at the site of the Black Rock to protect the cemetery, to honor the Irish immigrants and the history of the Irish in Montreal, and to celebrate the humanitarian nature of Canadians and Montrealers and Quebecers. It's extraordinary.
So would you say that this excavation that was brought about by the REM and that project, would you say it's turned into a tremendous opportunity?
Yes. First of all, when they approached us, they said, well, we know it's on CN land where we're putting our pylon, but we're really sensitive to the fact that it might be the southwestern end of the maps we've looked on related to the graveyard. And so we organized in June a blessing where we invited our community, the Irish community, anybody interested. We had a Catholic priest, a Protestant priest, a rabbi, and a shaman all give blessings to the earth, and that was put back. And they started the dig in the fall. We went, and the directors of the Park Foundation went and were invited to view how they did the whole thing and what they discovered. They specially built a cage to an incredible expense and hired 3 teams of archaeologists to work in shifts to hand dig down in the pylon down to where the graves might have been. And indeed, In a 10-foot circle, they found the remains of 14 individuals.
Wow.
There was 7 adults, 3 teenagers, and 4 children. And recently we were invited to Ethoscope, which is the firm that's doing the investigations. We haven't gotten to the DNA yet. They're working on, establishing through analysis of the skeletons, analysis of the structures of their teeth, their diet, their ages, their sex, what diseases they had, how long it was from when they died to when they were buried, and all that kind of information. It really gives a human aspect to. I mean, when you say 6,000 people are buried there, it's a number. But when you start saying that there was a 6-month-old and a 1-year-old in tiny coffins there, it really puts a human face to the whole tragedy.
We are with Scott Phelan. He's director of the Montreal Irish Monument Park Foundation. Scott, through the course of this interview, it is so clear you care about history. You care about those stories. Have these bones provided you with any new stories to tell?
Absolutely, Elias. I mean, we now know the ages and the sex of the individuals who are there. I'll take one example of a 15-year-old boy whose skeleton was almost complete and who had bacterial infection in his hip. And we know by the deterioration of his femur and the bones in his upper arm that he walked with a crutch. So he walked with a limp, a very distinct limp. So not only did he survive the malnutrition and the famine in Ireland and the journey across from Ireland to then Lower Canada in what we called coffin ships, 10% of the people transported died and were buried at sea. But then he arrives on the shore looking for a new life and perishes of typhus in that terrible summer of 1847. But it could have been much worse. I mean, if the population had not built the fever sheds, had not brought food and clothing and cared for them. I mean, a lot of Montrealers died carrying that summer for the Irish refugees, and it speaks volumes about our character and our character even today, that we accepted more Syrian refugees than the United States. It's our nature, and this story is not celebrated. It's not known. So our mission is to not only protect the sacred ground that is the cemetery there, but also to tell this incredible story that relates directly to Canadian nature, the nature of Canadians. It's the bones we found. Actually, we're now in the process of doing the DNA analysis. So the DNA analysis will be able. We know right now where generally they came from in the south and west of Ireland, but with the DNA analysis and comparative DNA analysis in Ireland, we might be able to pinpoint their village.
Wow.
We might be able to give them names.
Wow.
And if we're able to do so, then we can forward trace to their descendants in Ireland and forward trace to their descendants across the world. I mean, 70 million people across the world claim Irish heritage. 40% of Quebecers have Irish heritage. So we're going to, when the park is built in 2026, we're waiting right now for the substation, the hydro substation, to be finished in 2024. Then the City of Montreal has agreed to move Bridge Street off the cemetery to the west, to the east and north a bit, to make the cemetery and the Black Rock and the whole area whole. Right now, to access the Black Rock, you have to cross over 4 lanes of highways. Inaccessible.
That's right.
So we'll start building in 2026, and we intend to reinter those 14 individuals with the honor and decency that they were denied in 1847, and invite all their ancestors, both from Ireland and around the world, to attend the opening ceremony.
Scott, I got to tell you, I know we don't have all the time on the World in Radio, but for sharing just a part of this story with our listeners this morning, I thank you so much.
It's fascinating. It's a fascinating history, Elias, and I thank you for allowing me to tell a bit of our story.
I hope to have you back on real soon, Scott. Real pleasure. Thanks so much.
Anytime, Elias. A pleasure.
Scott Phelan, director of the Montreal Irish Monument Park Foundation, former president of the St. Patrick's Society.